I hid in a cardboard box, and secretly snuck into the prison. When the box was opened, all the prisoners looked at me happily, and I looked around, eventually finding my dad. He crawled over from the corner, and then hugged me. His beard scratched my face, and we both cried sadly. My dad has the intelligence of a 6-year-old, but he was wrongly accused of being a murderer. I just couldn't believe it. I swore I would help my dad escape from prison, but an uncle was afraid I'd cause trouble, so he ran off to inform on us. I could only watch in fear. Soon the prison guards were attracted over. I had to hide behind the door. Then I tightly held the hand of the prisoner. My eyes filled with tears as I silently begged him. Finally the uncle just said there was less bread. I quickly rushed back into my dad's arms, telling him not to make too much noise. This warm scene filled the cell with laughter. Then I moved into the cell. However, during a cell inspection, the warden still discovered me. Dad and I were separated again. I was very sad. That day I fell ill. The warden stood by my bed, and I begged him to arrest me, to put me in prison as well. The warden turned and left, and then re-examined my dad. I didn't know what he was thinking, but I hid in the box again, and went back to my dad. Everyone also knew that my dad was framed, so they all wrote petitions, hoping the case would be retried. But as soon as the trial began, my dad admitted to all the charges. Later I found out, the police chief used me to threaten my dad, forcing him to confess. I nearly broke down. When the gavel fell, my dad was sentenced to death, but those uncles didn't stop. They made a hot air balloon. Then Dad and I were pushed onto the balloon. As the hot air balloon soared into the sky, I was so happy that I jumped for joy. We watched the sunset. I really wish we could just escape like that, but reality was cruel. We were caught, and taken back to the prison. The day of the execution was my birthday. The uncles told me Dad was being transferred. Dad took out a school bag. It was the gift I had always wanted. I gave him a big hug. I had a feeling, but I didn't want to accept that we had to part. Many years passed. I stood in the courtroom again. Having become a lawyer, I was going to clear my dad's name.